Hi, my name is Donna, and this is my first live video on YouTube. And I'm using this opportunity to share my thoughts on why do some people, male or female, remain in abusive relationship. And because I met a lady who had bruises all over, and she said she's been in this relationship for 10 years, and she's always being beaten. First, it started with just verbal abuse, and now she's having bruises all over her body, broken ribs, and all of that stuff she's going through. So she said it's okay for me to share her story. So that's why I'm going live, hoping this will help someone out there in YouTube world. So one of the reasons why persons remain in these relationships of abuse is fear of retaliation or more violence if they try to leave, fear for their children if children are involved, because the person I spoke with, she didn't have children yet she is afraid to leave. So fear of children safety or fear of losing their life. Also, financial dependence. The abuser may be the one controlling the money, so leaving the victim without resources, she or he may be afraid of not being able to support themselves if they leave. Lack of housing too, or job opportunities. Also, financial independence makes leaving feel impossible. Another reason for the abuser to keep manipulating the situation, the emotional manipulation and trauma bonding. Like the abuser, after the beating, they may apologize and affect the person's mental psyche. They may alternate between being cruel and then being lovey-dovey afterwards. So they, after doing that for many times, it affect the person that being abused psyche, and they become attached psychologically, and being afraid to leave. The victim may hope that eventually the person's good side will come out, because this person, sometimes they show, in the beginning they were really good to the person, the victim, and then over time they change to being cruel. So possibly the victim is hoping that the good side will eventually come back, and that prevent them from wanting to leave. Also, low self-esteem can be a problem, like constant belittling. The abuser may constantly belittle the victim, and the victim eventually start feeling worthless, like they don't deserve better than what they're experiencing, or their shame or guilt about being a failure in the relationship, that can keep them silent and hope that one day things will get better too. Isolation is another reason for the victim to remain, because the abuser often cut the victims off from friends and family or support systems. And without a safety net, the victim feels overwhelmed and become scared of leaving the relationship. They remain there and uh, they just stay and accept the abuse. Also, culture cause some victims to stay because when they're grown up in certain cultures and religious beliefs or social pressure, they their beliefs about marriage being permanent or divorce being unacceptable, the fear of being judged by the community or the family and faith group, they decide to stay. They rather stay in the abusive relationship than being outcast in the community or social or religious group. They sometimes stay too because they hope that one day the abuser will change or that things will eventually get better because they remember the positive times and want to fix the relationship, thinking that it's a possibility that the relationship will change. If children are involved, they may want to keep the family together for the kids' sake, with a fear of losing custody or the children being harmed. Lack of awareness or minimization, too, by not recognizing the behavior as abuse. Because a lot of times they experience the abuse for such a long time that, hi, Deborah, thanks for coming into my life. Sometimes the abuser the abuse is going on for so long that the victim start thinking it's the norm for the behavior and saying that they at least it's not as bad as some people are experiencing, so they just stay thinking that's the norm. But I wish they could get the wake up call and know that even if things are not like they don't have financial backing or stuff, if they leave, things will work out. Eventually, they will think someone out there will be able to help. There are certain organizations that can help to get them back on their feet. But staying in that abusive relationship, if they stay, they won't know that there's better out there. Some barriers too are legal obstacles, like sometimes the victim is in a marriage to get their status, like immigration status, so they stay in it to and accept what's going on because they want their papers, and they sometimes have nowhere to go even if they leave. But there are shelters out there and programs that can assist, that and they don't have to stay in the abusive state. And I hope that the victim can realize that it's not about weakness, and sometimes it's just for survival, and it's very complex and unsafe and often a trapped circumstance why some people stay in abuse. This lady that I met that says she's being abused for over 10 years, she met this her now husband. They got married young. She met him at 17, and after things were quite good, and in order she got stayed with him because he was able to help her family out of financial situations, and he treated her very well and got her into a good job. And after a while, she ended up having to give him half of his pay, half of her pay. And then she found out that he started having um, another, like cheating on her, and she closed her eyes to that because he was the one who helped her to be where she was in life. And even though she he found out that he was cheating, she stayed. And then after a while, he started abusing her verbally, and from being verbally abused, she started having physical abuse even when she didn't do anything wrong. He just come home in a bad mood and start beating on her, but she still stayed because she think of the good things that she was experiencing prior to the abuse. So she just stay and hope that things would get better, but it just kept getting worse because she's why I met her. She came for an X-ray done on her rib, and the bruisings and stuff wasn't showing outside, but her body, when she lifted her shirt so that I could put a BB on for the area that she need the X-ray done, I saw a lot of bruising. And I said, "What's wrong? Oh, you fell?" And she said, "No, I was just coughing. And after I coughed, I felt the pain, the pop pain. So I came to get X-ray done to see if I broke a rib when I coughed." I said, "Okay, if that's what you want to go with, but this bruising doesn't look like just coughing. Maybe you fell or bouncing hit a door or something because it's really bad." So after doing the X-ray, she started talking because I was so kind and showed her kindness. She opened up and started telling me her story. So I asked her if it's okay if I tell my story on social media to help someone, and she said yes, as long as you don't call my name, that's no problem. But she had problem. She don't want to leave the situation. She said she's afraid that if she leaves, she'll get killed or something. So she just stay and accept the abuse. And I said, "Why don't you report it to the authorities?" She said, "No, I can't because he's in the authority too." I said, "Oh my goodness, poor thing." Anyway, I just hope this can help someone out there that is going through physical or verbal abuse, that they could just be brave, tell someone their story that can help them to get out of the abusive situation. In a way, this is my first live video on YouTube, and I hope it will help someone. Hi, Gina. Nice meeting you. I am well, thank you. Just keep, I just hope that this video will help someone out there that is going through abusive state, that they should go get help, because it's not good to stay in an abusive relationship because you may lose your life. I'm going to go off now. I hope I know how to get off this live. and have a wonderful day. It's my lunchtime at work, so I have to go get lunch and come back and start working. I don't know how to get off. It's my first live. Top fan.